Today, we're breaking down surviving Bitcoin bear markets, the mental game. Welcome to Bitcoin Bytes HQ, simple Bitcoin explainers. This is educational content only, not financial advice. Let's go. Bear markets matter because this is when fear replaces curiosity. Prices fall, excitement disappears, and the stories people tell about Bitcoin turn sharply negative. This is where most long-term outcomes are decided, not by charts or predictions, but by psychology. If you understand what's happening mentally, you're far less likely to make decisions you later regret. The first idea to understand is what a bear market really is. A bear market is not one sudden crash. It's a long stretch where prices trend downward and confidence slowly erodes. Think of it like a long winter. Nothing dramatic happens on any single day, but over time, the cold wears you down. Bitcoin bear markets work the same way. They drain patience more than they shock you. The second idea is volatility, but specifically downward volatility. That means prices can drop sharply and repeatedly over time. Bitcoin moves quickly because it is traded globally and reacts instantly to fear and headlines. In a bear market, those drops feel like they are happening to you personally, like a long series of setbacks instead of a single event. Volatility isn't the problem. It's the downward direction and watching your investment lose value. Bear markets aren't unique to Bitcoin. Stocks, real estate, and other assets go through long downturns too. What makes Bitcoin bear markets feel different is how fast and visible those moves can be. It's also worth remembering that in a bear market, most losses are still just on paper. A loss only becomes real when you sell and lock in that price. Holding through the downturn means you're not turning a temporary decline into a permanent mistake. The third idea is narrative. During bear markets, FUD shows up. FUD stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. These are negative stories that sound urgent and convincing, especially when prices are already falling. Some FUD is based on real events, some is exaggerated, some is recycled from previous cycles. The real risk isn't hearing criticism, it's letting those narratives replace your original understanding. The fourth idea is your original motivation. Why did you pay attention to Bitcoin in the first place? Maybe it was because you liked the idea of money that couldn't be controlled by any single group, or because you wanted a way to save without relying on a bank, or because you believed in scarcity, that there is a limited supply, like gold, and that scarcity matters over time. Those reasons don't vanish when the price drops. So a grounding question during a bear market is, did the fundamentals change when the price went down? If you were interested in Bitcoin because it is scarce, decentralized, and not controlled by any single group, those properties don't disappear just because the market is fearful. Prices move quickly, fundamentals change slowly. Learning to separate the two is one of the most important mental skills for holding through downturns. With that foundation in place, let's look at why people might panic sell during a bear market.
One common reason people panic sell is that they interpret falling prices as proof Bitcoin is failing. This belief comes from treating price as truth. When the number drops, it feels like the idea is collapsing too. But price mostly reflects emotion. Fear spreads faster than understanding, especially during stress. Part of the confusion comes from how markets actually work. When fear rises, liquidity often dries up. That simply means fewer buyers are willing to step in at any given moment. When selling pressure increases and buyers hesitate, prices can fall much further than expected, even if nothing fundamental has changed. A common myth is that strong holders never feel shaken. The 2022 crash proved that even experienced people felt stress as prices fell sharply, major platforms collapsed, and confidence evaporated. The difference wasn't emotional toughness, it was perspective. During that crash, the story quickly became, Bitcoin is dead. But the reality was a liquidity crisis, not a technical failure. The fundamentals, scarcity, decentralization, and the network continuing to operate didn't disappear. What changed was confidence, and confidence can evaporate faster than technology can fail. When I first started, I treated price movement like a scorecard on my decisions. If Bitcoin dropped, I assumed I had misunderstood something important. That belief made every downturn feel personal and exhausting. What changed was realizing that price is not the same thing as purpose. Bitcoin doesn't promise comfort or short-term certainty. It promises consistency. Once I focused on why Bitcoin exists rather than how it was performing this month, my mental model shifted. Volatility became background noise instead of a verdict. Another mental trap in bear markets is the urge to chase something that's suddenly working. When Bitcoin is down, people often look for the next altcoin that's in a short-term rally. That's understandable. We all want relief from the stress of losses. But chasing a new story usually means leaving your original plan behind, and it can create a cycle of constant switching. It's like jumping from one boat to another during a storm because the second one seems to be moving faster. The storm is still there, and you've added extra risk. This is where the saying, time in the market, not timing the market, becomes useful. Timing the market means trying to buy at the exact bottom and sell at the exact top. That sounds great in theory, but it's extremely difficult in practice, especially when emotions are high. Time in the market means staying invested long enough that short-term ups and downs become less important. So, here's the bigger picture to hold on to. Bitcoin bear markets aren't about ignoring risk or repeating slogans. They're about continually checking whether the core reasons you were interested in Bitcoin still apply. Online, bear markets are often framed as paper hands versus diamond hands, but that framing misses the point. The real question is whether the fundamentals you believed in actually changed. Narratives come and go like weather reports. Fundamentals are more like climate. They change slowly, if at all. A simple next step is to look back at previous bear markets and observe how Bitcoin has bounced back over time, not as a guarantee, but as a historical pattern worth understanding. And then write down why Bitcoin mattered to you before the fear set in, so you can revisit that list the next time volatility grabs your attention. That's Surviving Bitcoin Bear Markets, the Mental Game, simplified. If this helped, like, share, and subscribe for more Bitcoin explainers. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next one.